Hello everyone, welcome to my live stream. My name is Denise Hutchins and I'm broadcasting to you from Studio Mikarts. Our charity of the month is Vegan Outreach, and there are several ways you can help me, help them, help the animals. First, consider donating to our fundraiser here on Twitch. Our wonderful Wolf Axe 2 already donated $10, so we have reached our goal, but we can exceed that goal. So if you can, please donate, but even if you can't, there's another way you can help. Let me greet Sarah. She's here for the very first minute. Hello! How great you can join me on Friday. Let's stream of the week. Woohoo! How are you, Sarah? Another way that you can help me, help Vegan Outreach, help the animals is just to watch my stream and bring your friends, because I'll be making a donation at the end of the month based on my unique viewers count here on Twitch. That count, I believe, is only upped by live views. Exie is here too. Hello, Exie! So great to see you! How are you? Oh, the party is getting started in here. So, if you can, bring your friends to watch my stream this month. I'll be making my own donation based on that unique viewers count. You can also find links to Vegan Outreach in my chat, in my Twitch description, in the YouTube description if you're watching the recording. So you can donate that way and just find out more about what they do. So it is Friday, which means it's time for Chibi Friday, and we're going to be finishing, maybe we're going to finish this OC, Kata, and I verified the pronunciation. Kata Duren is the pronunciation of This Is My Friend's OC. And we've got almost all of the sketch done from last week, so we just got to finish up this sketch, add the ink, start coloring. We'll see how far we can get today. Oh, Sketchy Dude is here too. Woo! Seriously, y'all, it's a party in here. That's crazy. We're not even 5 minutes in. We're not even 3 minutes in. There's already 3 people in the chat. Crazy. Sarah says, I thought you were going to start an hour ago. Nice. I saw something. Oh, hold on. Oh. My ad blocker updated and decided that it needed to take over my thing and tell me all about it. So, like, where is my Twitch going? Okay, I'm back. I'm reading Sarah's message. So Sarah thought that I was going to start streaming early. So actually, no, dude, that actually is true though. Time is an abstract concept. That's 100% true though. I'm so glad that you could make it right away. I think I saw a preview that you had messaged me on my phone, but there's been so much going on today that I couldn't check any messages yet on my phone, so. And Sukechi Ryu just got home. Woo! How awesome! How's everybody doing today? Are you having a great Friday? I know for Exie it might almost be Saturday. Got any fun plans for the weekend, anyone? Or just having a good time here right now? I hope that this, if you don't have any fun plans for the weekend, I hope at least this time you're spending with me will be fun. I'm going to take a sip of water because it's so exciting right now. I already need to refresh my speaking organs. From my adorable little bear water bottle. 23 minutes to the weekend for Exie. Okay, we're going to ride into the weekend with Exie. Woo! Yeah, so let's get started. I'm going to use my favorite mechanical pencil with Celeste from Animal Crossing on, and I always love to show this. If you spin it, the shooting stars fall from the sky. This is so cute. So let's finish this up. I just need to basically add the lower half of her outfit. That's where I ended last time. I mean, there might be some more details to add, but I'm going to pull up the very useful reference image that Sketchy Ryu has sent me. So give me a second. I see there's some more messages in the chats, but let me look at my messages and get that image pulled up. I might have, maybe I saved it actually. Let me check my gallery Did I make it easy on myself and save it? Okay, I saved the one. I need to go save the other one. Sketchy You very, very helpfully sent me a color reference so that I can use this for the coloring, because I feel very positive we'll be able, even if we can't finish today, be able to get the, let's see, download this one, save, get to starting color at the very least. So now I've got those both in my gallery. Where's the other one? Where's the one I just downloaded? Okay. The first one is under messages. The other one is under download. So they're in separate folders. Let me move them. The organization notes. Let's see. Move to. So they're in the same folder together. There we go. Okay. So now I've got both reference images here. Yay! But for now I'll stick with the black and white one because it's got all those nice details in it. Now we can look at the chat again. Did you upcycle a honey bottle? Nope. It actually came like this. It's really nice. It's got like an adjustable strap and a little handle, and it's got the... I finally figured out how to do the straw so it actually pops out and doesn't get stuck. Look, even this little latch to lock it is a bear. Isn't that cute? And it says smile. Looks like a honey bear though, doesn't it? Oh, Exy's gonna see a friend and then go to therapy. Well, that sounds good. That sounds good to me. I know I say it every week, but I am all in support. I've got my next mental health counseling appointment coming up next month, I believe. Oh, Sketchy You says, was done real quick. The color guide. Dude, it works for me. It's plenty for me to go off of. I could have used the words that because you wrote white and blue and everything, but actually seeing the color helps me see what exact tone or shade of blue or white or green. Well, I guess white doesn't have a tone or a shade because white is what makes tones, because a tone is when you take a hue, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, you add a white and that creates a tone. A shade is when you add black and then that creates a shade. Color theory, little color theory breakdown for you. Okay, I'm trying to look at the legs. Okay, we've got these cool knee-high fold over top boots, super cool. Ah, and I haven't finished the sort of sweater dress underneath, and we need to add thigh-high stockings as well. Okay. Art knowledge dump. I'm full of it. I'm full of it. And depending on what you think of what I have to say, that could be interpreted in multiple ways. I'll let you decide. Let's see. Okay, first I'm going to do a little bit of erasing so that I can feel sure about what I'm satisfied with, and we're just going to leave it, and maybe what I want to work on a little bit more. So the jacket, I actually need a little bit of, I think, some detailing on the sides. Hold on, I'm pulling my trash can closer to me so I can put eraser stuff in there. So I need a little bit on the sides, on the waist. Just a couple little black straps like what we've already got in the middle. Boop. There, now we've got that detail. This one's a little longer. We want them to be about the same length. Sarah, how would you prefer send image for Chibi reference? Email, text, printed, snail mail. Email would be good, because then I can easily get it onto my desktop, and then I can have them on my secondary monitor over here so they can be bigger. But if you want to text them, if you want to snail mail them, I can use anything, but that'll probably be best out of those. Thank you. Or if you just want to make, say, a Google Photos album, that's how, say, like me and my siblings and a lot of family members share photos too, so. But I can make it work. Whatever works for you. Okay, yeah. Yay! So yeah, once you send me those, then I can add you to my list too, because after this, we've got Xy's 2-year, thank you, Chibi, 2-year anniversary of being a subscriber here on Twitch. And I'm so excited because Xy always picks basically what is fan art for me to make. So I'm super stoked for that too. And I don't have anything else on my Chibi list, so you'll be next. As long as somebody doesn't beat you to the punch. So there's still some more birthday Chibi and one other thank you Twitch subscriber Chibi that's kind of floating around, has not been claimed. So as it is, you're next. You're next if you get me those reference images and put you on my list. Okay, what else on her jacket? I think that might be everything, actually, on the jacket. Double checking, though. So the neck part we don't see because the head is so big because of the Chibi. So there is some detail there, but it's lost because of the gigantic Chibi head. Oh, okay, good. Not in a rush, but don't want to forget. Yeah, especially with the birthday Chibi, it does come with the expiration date. It's because I do send out so many. So I'm not really drawing it because I'm still double checking the references. Okay. But I think I've got it. Oh, I see. Sketchy Dew, since you're here. Sketchy Dew, our Chibi's very top heavy. Yeah. They've got to stay balanced. They actually have really, really incredible lower body. Actually, their entire body strength is unbelievably high for how small it is, because that's the only way they can survive with the giant head. Sketchy Dude, I had a question for you. Would you like me to shorten this cape? Because when we were talking about it, I realized, yes, indeed, you showed the cape and I made it too long. I can shorten it up if you want, or if you're happy with this, we can just go with this. So let me know. Because once we start inking, that's it. It's staying the way it is. Okay, so I'm going to start adding the sweater dress underneath. So it comes down in the front like this. Not all the way down to the knees, but since it's Chibi, we've got to do a little finagling because the Chibi proportions almost necessitate that it goes down further than it does in normal proportions, just because otherwise it will look too short in relation to the jacket. So I'm going to bring it down to the knees. And it starts up here and has a, I don't know what this is. Is this a rhombus? What's a rhombus? Okay, Google. What's a rhombus?
According to Wikipedia, in plain Euclidean geometry, a rhombus is a quadrilateral whose 4 sides all have the same length. Another name is equilateral quadrilateral.
It's not a rhombus.
Since equilateral means that all of its sides are equal in length.
It's definitely not a rhombus. So a rhombus is basically a square, but no, it's not a square because the sides have to be the same length, but that doesn't mean the angles have to be the same. I don't know what this shape is called. I have no word for it. It's up to me. All right, then let's just say this is her winter cloak, because it will save time if I can just leave it as it is and we can move forward. So thank you for that. So we've got a pattern on here. It's got some stripes coming down and then a sort of weave. It looks like a weave. So I'll add a few stripes in here. Can't add as many as are in the reference because it's too small, but we'll add 3. So we do have room for that. Okay, we've got the front part. The back part, can't really see it because it's in the back. It doesn't wrap around the front in a way that we'd really see it. So that goes there, but there is a little bit showing attached to the sides here. Okay, sweet. Lines like a ribbed sweater. Okay. So, I thought it looked like a sort of weave thing. Let me see. I gotta look at a ribbed sweater and see. I'm trying to decide whether I should ink those or if that should be... It's a pretty strong line. I'm looking at these images. So like here's an example. It's a pretty strong line because it's pretty deep, so I think I shall keep that. I shall ink those lines. Okay. That's what it looked like to me from your sketch. It looks like some sort of weaved cloth. Okay. So next, I think we're done up there. So we're going to add the thigh-high stockings, which is, again, it's tough because of the chibi. So they're actually going to have to be higher looking than they are in relation to this front part of this dress, just because of how the chibi proportions work. So I'm trying to keep everything looking right in relation to each other, all these different elements. I'm just looking now to see if it seems like the curve that I gave to these stockings is appropriate for how the leg would be in this pose. I think that's good. So this one, the foot is standing back, so the leg is pushed forward, which means the curve would be down. This foot, though, is the opposite. It's pushed forward a little bit, so the curve is up. All right, next is boots. Knee-high boots. Knee-high boots. Okay, so right here. I'm also trying to avoid tangents, so I don't want to draw the boot at the exact same point as this cloak edge. So that becomes a tangent, and then it's kind of visually confusing. Oh, Aoife just did a grunt that made it sound like she agreed. She's like rubbing her face with her paw. Aoife is my big dog, for anybody who doesn't know. She's sleeping in her studio bed below the table to my left here. Okay. You added so much harmony. Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, that'll be a lot like what my sister, I just finished her chibi last before this one. She just sent me a big album full of pictures of Tiger. Which is nice, because then I can choose which pose to base it off of. Okay, so we've got the cool fold over top boots. Very fantasy, very cool. And I've been rediscovering my love for fantasy recently because over the last few years I've been questioning, and I've probably told this story before, so sorry if it's boring, but I've been questioning whether I actually like fantasy or if I just like Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter because I haven't been enjoying any new fantasy books, and some older fantasy books that I had enjoyed as I've changed, as I've grown as a person, I don't enjoy those stories anymore. And so I'm like, do I not actually like fantasy at all? But I have been very happy to have gotten some good recommendations from my sister, the one who I drew Tiger for. I started the Earthsea series, and I'm like, okay, I do like fantasy. I've just been not picking good books. So I'm so happy. So that's reminded, these fold over top boots is reminding me of that. Give an idea of the bottom of the boots. Think Link's boots from Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. Well, I'll just look that up then. Of course, for Chibi, it doesn't matter too much because it's so tiny. You know, it's just this little, it's not even a centimeter. It's like half a centimeter. But let's do Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. Twilight Princess is the only Zelda game I've actually finished. I've played tons and tons of them, but it's the only one that I've played from beginning to end and completed. Okay, let's take a look at this. I bet I need to look up Link. Otherwise, it's just going to show me all kinds of stuff. Gmons are from wedding. But I think that would be nice to have the nice outfit on. Yeah. Yeah. A little, some people, so, oof. Let me figure my words out, because I'm, like, stumbling over my own thoughts. There's a genre called high fantasy, but that's not all I like, because Harry Potter is not high fantasy. But I love high fantasy, but I love Harry Potter. And I love other ones that aren't high fantasy either. So my term for it is grand fantasy. That's what I like. It's my own term, but I know what it means, and it really helps me. So that's what I like. Grand fantasy. All right, I've got this perfect reference image. Link's boots. Boom! Twilight Princess Link. We can zoom in on them. All right, sweet. Sweet. Okay. But it did look like there were crisscrossing, and there's some buckles at the top, and then there's crisscrossing laces. So we're adding buckles at the top and crisscrossing laces, but the feet... No! Where did my image go? I hate that. I gotta search it again. Blasted Google search thing. If I open up, go to a different app, Google search just goes away like it's not an app. Geez, so much work just to get the reference image to stay up on my phone. Okay, here we go. And the Goonies is one of my fave, and that would count as grand fantasy to me. I love the Goonies. It's one of my faves. So good. Yep. Yep-a-rooney. So, if anyone's looking for something like that and they haven't read it before, the Earthsea books are right in that category. It's quite good. I'm so happy. I'm so happy that fantasy is still my thing. Okay, for the buckle, it's just going to be a little square because it's so tiny. We can't really depict the actual bits and pieces. The mechanism of the buckle is just too small. It will just become a jumble of ink and lines, and even this is really pushing it. I do have some nice small pens, though. So here I'm adding a little bit of wrinkles to the boots. And his boots don't have any heel to them. So we'll have this nice, flat, basic sole. By his, I mean Link. And here we'll have a little bit of wrinkle off to the side too, because it's a little side angle, feels like. Well, let's get those crisscrosses in there. There. Sweet. And the crisscrosses on this side. Whee! Speaking of fantasy, I started yesterday. I started watching the Dune series, the new Dune. I don't know what you call it because it's not really a television series, or maybe it was on television, but I'm not watching it television. I'm watching through Steer's streaming service. Whew, it got dark, but it's hard because the story is so good, and one of the biggest things I love is that it's about my favorite group of characters from the first two movies, the new movies, and that's what I watched in January, and I was like, oh, this is awesome, and then I'm like, yeah, this is space fantasy. We've had all this. I'm trying not to cover stuff that we've spoken about already on previous streams this year, but we started watching that TV series, or serial release series, or whatever. It is super dark, though. That takes the violence level to a new level. And yet, the story is so good, and the violence is not gratuitous. It's not just to be like, hey, what cool ways can we kill people? There's a purpose to it, and there's a reason. And so it's just so interesting because I don't think I would ever watch this again because of the level of violence. But I am still totally engrossed in the story already from episode 1. So that's another thing. Fantasy. Oh, no heels on hers either. Right. Good. I'm glad that bothers you because it bothers me. It bothers me that in so many of my favorite fantasy video games, if I want to play a character that matches me, aka a female character, then the equipment is like, how are they protected? Yeah, because this is a game made for the male gaze. This game wasn't made for me. And then it taints my experience of the game from that point on. So, I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. Now, if there's a little bit of a heel, I think that's fine. But yeah, when they're out in the wilderness in stiletto heels, like their heels are going to be sinking into the mud on this journey and just breaking off because you can't make a strong shoe that can last in some epic quest or whatever. They say it's enforced by magic or something so it doesn't break. Sure. Yeah. And Sailor Moon is a shoujo too. It's like, what? But then again, at least it's consistent with their whole everything. Everybody is in these crazy outfits. And in fact, the only ones in regular outfit, like Tuxedo Mask, is literally powerless. It's so funny. I love Sailor Moon, though. It's one of my favorite shows. Favorite manga, too. I read the whole manga when so they've re-released it multiple times, but it's like the third release back from whatever the most recent one is. But yeah, people... I guess Sailor Moon, it's a little bit easier to swallow because they're not, like, out in the wilderness doing stuff like trudging through mires and trying to navigate a forest or anything like that. So it makes a little bit more sense, but... Motif. What do you mean by motif? Or am I reading that wrong? He has to have some magic, so he has rose throwing magic. Those roses are sharp and stick into stuff. That's true. That's true. 13 years old with short skirts and high heels fighting evil. Sailor Moon is another fantasy series. I do love fantasy. Fantasy is my favorite. Alright, I think this is everything. Let me double check. The reference. We've got her socks. We've got her boots. We've got her dress, the coat / jacket. The The cloak, which we're just going to call it her winter cloak because it's longer than it should be. Okay. Yay, let's start inking. Inking time. I guess, let me make sure. Yeah, I've got her hair tie. I've got her face. All her facial features. We don't do nose on human Chibi, so that's good. Got her ears. Okay. Woohoo! Oh, the pretty girls motif of Sailor Moon. Oh, gotcha. And teasing Sailor Moon with joy, not malice. Popped immediately into my mind. Yep. It's true, though. And I've never cosplayed Sailor Moon because, well, for multiple reasons, but the outfits is like, it's not really something I want to wear. Like, I love looking at it. I think it's beautiful, especially Super Sailor Moon. No, which one's the final Sailor Moon? The final iteration of Sailor Moon is so fabulous and beautiful, and I love it. And I would wear that outfit. I would cosplay that outfit. Because my legs aren't 80% of my body. Yeah. I've got a normal ratio of legs to body. Works with Bayonetta only because she's supposed to be over the top. Probably the same thing applies to Sailor Moon. Because I think that the whole world of Sailor Moon supports the idea of their outfits. The whole magical transformation thing, the way they fight, who they're fighting, how their enemies fight them is all so kind of ridiculous, actually, that I think it all works together. But things like a Lord of the Rings style high fantasy world, but all the female characters wear basically a bikini is like, okay. Okay, y'all. Let's get the inking tools out. So, I'm using my favorite Sakura Pigma set. I've got the Micron pens and the one graphic size pen. So I've got all these nice sizes to choose from. And this holder I got, I've told this story before, but I haven't told it in a while. It was 3D printed for me by one of the owners of the retreat we went to. We being the people I went to the retreat with. It was an Inktober retreat a few years ago. And they 3D printed this for me. They sent out a list of things they could 3D print that might be helpful for us artists coming to the retreat. And I was like, oh, I need that. And they printed it. It was free. They didn't charge me extra or anything. And it is such a useful thing because you can see the numbers to know exactly what size pen you're grabbing. And they stay organized as long as you put them back into place. So I love this thing. The only thing is, since it's angled like this, my table is at an angle now, so I have to have it on the side, otherwise it just wants to fall off. But that's my table's problem, not this. Not this sweet little pen holder's problem. Yeah, rabbit hole. Females who armor don't protect anything. I can accept that kind of thing, though, when both sexes are treated equally. So if it's in a world where, yeah, and all the men just wear loincloths, you know what? That works because everyone is on the same level and they're doing the same thing together. And it's not just trying to satisfy one certain type of audience member. So whether it's for the story or if it's just for the gratification of the viewer, you know, as long as it's equal, it doesn't bother me. But when it's not equal, it does bother me because I'm a part of the audience too. Or at least they make me feel like I don't belong, even though I want to love what they've created. Oh, wait, I'm choosing the wrong size. I want to start with the biggest size. Oh, hold on. I have my air purifier going, but it suddenly started whining. And I didn't want an annoying noise to start up on the stream, so I just turned off my air purifier. I actually have to change the filter in that. That's probably why it's doing that. Okay. So what I'm going to do is take my biggest pen, which is the 1. How many millimeters is that? Yeah, okay. This one actually corresponds. So it's 1, meaning 1 millimeter, and it's the graphic one. Sakura Pigment Graphic. Yep. Equality. Yeah, I love it. I love we're all on the same page here. We just want it to be equal. So if the men are in super strong, awesome, protective armor with really cool designs and all kinds of fabric to keep them warm and protected from the elements, I want my female heroes to be treated the same. And if the men are just running around in the desert with a loincloth on, then we can have our women running around in the desert with a loincloth on, and maybe with a top on too, you know, depending on the cultural norms. But yeah, let's just be equal. That's all. That's all. Okay, I'm finally getting started. I like to do a nice, big, thick outline on these chibis because I don't do a background, and by doing the thick outline it makes them feel more solid, almost like they're more confident in their space even though they're not really in any space because there's no background. So it kind of makes them look like a sticker or like they just belong as they are and don't need the support of an environment. Hopefully some of that makes any sense. I don't know if I explained it well, but it makes sense to me, and that's why I'm using this thick pen first, just to do this outline. New Monster Hunter character creator lets men wear women's version of the armor. Oh, that's cool. Good. And then the player can customize to their preference. That's nice. I realize that's one of the reasons certain, we'll say franchises, I've really liked. And the two that come to mind is Legend of Zelda. So my very first Zelda game was actually Ocarina of Time. And we have Princess Zelda and Sheik. And they are... Has it been too long for it to be a spoiler? You know what, just in case I won't say anything, we'll just say we have Princess Zelda and Sheik. And they are dressed appropriately compared with everybody else. And everybody is dressed appropriately compared with everybody else. And in another franchise that I love, this is a specific one because not all of the entries in the franchise are like this, but Gundam Wing. Gundam Wing doesn't have male gaze, what's the term? Eye candy characters. They've just got characters, and it's so nice. Because I can focus on the story. So I feel the same way about Zelda, Ocarina of Time. It feels like there's none of that kind of... I don't feel excluded. I don't feel distracted by feeling excluded. So I love those. But other Gundam series have not always done that. So Gundam Wing is a specific one that I've watched the whole thing of and feel confident in. I feel like some of the other entries have been a little... Okay, I'm also doing this thick line on the top of the head just to help give it a little distance and try to show, okay, the front of the head is in front of this ponytail, which is supposed to be behind. Yeah, the Gerudo. But they live in the desert, so at least it makes sense. All the pretty boys, how they got girls to watch Gundam. It's so funny because I don't know what it was that attracted me to watch it. I just remember seeing the commercials when they were promoting it on Toonami. Yeah, I think it was Toonami. Because they had Toonami, but then they had that late night version. And I don't remember if it was called Toonami. But I do remember that I was like, oh, I should record. This was back in the days with the VHS. Yes, record the episode from at night. Because that was way after my bedtime. Because they were playing the Japanese version. So that's how I watched most of my Gundam Wing, was the Japanese version, which I would record on VHS. Okay. Moving on to the more inner lines, we're going to go down, let's go down to a size 8. We'll see how that works. So there's some things I do want to keep giving a little thicker lines to, like this ear tails here. Again, and we'll do it with the bangs as well, to show that they are in front, and try to give a little bit of space by using a thicker line between the hair and the face. Oh, Sarah, something I love about the Gerudo is in Breath of the Wild, and then Link must wear the female Gerudo outfit. I love that because they're sticking to their story, and they're not making an exception for Link. In order to go around in the town, then he has to dress appropriately. So I love that. And I don't know, maybe it was put in there just to be a joke, like, oh, Link is dressed as a girl. But I think that it's great because the story is that there's no males allowed or whatever. And so if he's got to go in there and do some heroing, then he has to fit in. Fan service for the ladies. I think he looked good in that outfit, too. Not in an ogling, like, hoo kind of way, because I'm the one, I am Link. When I play Legend of Zelda, I am Link. So I thought we looked good. I thought we could look good in that outfit. Breath of the Wild is one of the games I really want to finish on Switch. I have not finished it yet. I haven't finished Fire Emblem Three Houses. But I dug myself into a deep, deep hole when I decided that I wanted to finish Animal Crossing New Horizons. And I've been playing it almost exclusively for the past 3 or 4 years now. And I can't stop. There's so much to do and I'm having so much fun. And that's my criteria. I've been asking myself, am I still having fun playing this? And then I turn the game on and I'm like, yes, I am. And there have been some times when I think I'm getting bored. And then I just find some new way to play it and I'm like, oh, I'm not bored anymore. So as long as I'm having fun, I don't care if I keep playing the same game for years on end. So that's the ultimate thing. I am not trying to amass a list of completed games or anything like that. I just want to have fun every day. That is my goal in life. Have fun every day. Boom. Easy. Yeah, he gets a male version but can't wear it around town. Yeah. Right? Exactly. Perfect. Because he's the link between the player and the game. Yes. I can't wait to play the Princess Zelda game. We have it. I haven't started it yet though, because as I said, I've been in Animal Crossing mode forever. I have played a little bit of the Princess Peach game, and I'm loving that game. I'm having so much fun on that one too. My favorite so far is the Lupin kind of, what is it? Oh, the Phantom Thief or something is what it's called. I think her Phantom Thief roll, that's my fave. But I think it's because I love Lupin so much that I'm like, oh, it's Lupin! It's a Princess Peach. Oh, is it fun? Yay! I can't wait to play that. So no spoilers or anything, but just from the little trailers and stuff I've seen, I feel like I'm gonna like it because it seems to be based on, rather than as so many games are based on destruction. You kill enemies, you destroy barriers, and it's all about destruction. If you're hearing that snoring, Aoife's having a dream. But it seems like in this game, it's a little bit more about construction because she creates things with her wand. But don't tell me more. If I'm wrong, don't tell me more. I'll figure it out when I'm gonna play it. I don't want to know. But it's good to hear that it's fun though, because I am really looking forward to playing that game. I'm really tempted to add more to these lines here. I realized I could bring this camera down and you could see more. I don't need it to be so high. Okay. And maybe I'll bring this little camera a little closer. I'm trying to fit her in the long ways. It's the only way I could fit all these cameras into my scene. Okay, that's good enough. Anyway, I'm tempted to start adding all these little details to my lines, but I'm reminding myself that I want to erase first and then I'll add those. So let's just get all the basic lines down first. So I'm going to keep using this size 08, which does not correspond. 08 is 0.5 millimeters, so half the size of the outside line. I'm going to use it for the facial features because the head and the face is so big that we'll use a bigger line for it. Then we'll go to something smaller for the body. Whee! Eyebrows. I love her eyebrows too, Sketchy Do, because I love thick eyebrows. I don't know. It's just a thing for me. Doesn't matter gender or sex. I just like thick eyebrows. Maybe it's because I don't have thick eyebrows. I have very thin, sparse eyebrows. And depending on the photo, the lighting and stuff, it can sometimes look like I almost have no eyebrows. So maybe that's why. So I like thicker eyebrows on my characters too. So I like her eyebrows. Oh, what? How are we on time? Okay. Still got about 10 minutes or so until break time. Dude, spoiler alert! How could you? Ban! You're getting the ban hammer! That'd be terrible! What a horrible game that would be! That'd be so bad. Sensational. That would be sensational as well. Okay. Just a little bit left for her face here. I'm going to fill her pupils in by the end, but for now I'm just doing the outline. So they always say pupil is a hole in the eye, so it's one of the few places where it should actually be true black, or as close as you can get. Okay, all that's left is her jawline, and this is another area where I'm actually going to go bigger. We'll go to a 12 because the face Of course, this is just a flat image, but her head should be sticking out beyond her body. So by adding a thicker line to her jawline, that will help suggest that. When in reality, it's just ink on paper. Okay. Wee. Here, put the 12 away. Put the 8 away. And I'm going to go to a 5 real quick, and I'm going to do her hair tie. Do her hair tie in size 0.5, which is 0.45 millimeters. Yes, suggesting depth. Yes, yes. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm actually going to add the other side of the little bow right there. Okay. I'm changing the way I've drawn this based on the color reference image that I'm looking at. So that's good. Okay. Now let's go down even another size smaller to the 0.3. I'm gonna flip this around again. I have to flip it around sometimes because the clip will get in the way of my hand. And moving the image allows me to use my hand in the most natural way possible, which allows me to get the strongest line, most controlled line. So the 0.3, I might be able to just do everything with. Maybe not, because this little tiny chain, I think that should be smaller. So actually, instead of 0.3, let's go to something really small and get these teeny tiny details out of the way, and we'll move big. So far we've gone big to small, but now we're gonna go small to big. It's like this little chain, and I don't know if I've ever used this one. This is a it doesn't want to, the doesn't, 0.03. I think you can kind of see that. Oh. It's the 0.00. Okay. I don't think I've used this one before. This is the tiniest micron I've ever used. And I'm using it for the first time. Which means I've got to have a very light hand because the tip is going to be extremely vulnerable, being so small. But it's awesome. Look at this. I'm going to try to hold it up so you can see if it'll focus. Look at that teeny tiny fine line. How awesome. It's so small. Whee! Yay. I'm so glad I found these extra sizes last year. I'd never seen them before. The 10, the 12, and the 0.03 I think are all new sizes to me. Oh wait, what am I doing? There was more stuff I wanted to do with the 0.03, including the details on the boots. The little buckles and laces. Boop. So small. Teeny tiny. That's actually really hard to ink so small. Okay. Maybe I'll do the lines on the ribbed sweater dress, because then they can look smaller than the border. My eyes feel like they're wigging out. They're like, what am I looking at? It's so tiny. Alright, I did it. I did it. Might come back to this size later, but for now I think that's good. Let's go back to the 0.3. Might use 0.2 for some of this other stuff as well, but keep pushing forward. A few minutes till break time. see. I'm going to do the cloak first. Making this with thicker lines will help show that it's on top of everything else as well. Whee! What if y'all are hearing Aoife snoring? Chappie's snoring a little bit too. Chappie's my small dog. You do hear the doggo snoring. They are my faithful assistants. They always come in here when I'm working into my studio with me. Oh yeah. Looking good. Okay, I'll do the jacket first. I might do the thicker line on the outside of the jacket and then do thinner lines for the inside part. And I inked all the way under here to help show that this is a separate garment from this. Oh, Sarah says it's break time. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, let's go take a break, everybody. This is coming along nicely. If I do say so myself, which I always do. And I don't mind it. I work hard. I have been honing my chibi skills for decades. So, I will say so myself always. Plus, I always say this. I wouldn't make it if I didn't like it. So, I make stuff because I want to like it. Anyway. Thank you. Thank you, too. It's nice to be supported in that way. I would support myself even if other people told me, no, you suck. But it's really nice to have people backing me as well. Okay, it's time to take a break. I am going to put my Be Right Back sign up and mute my mic. I highly recommend everybody else take this opportunity as well. Please go stretch, walk around, give your eyes a break, get a snack, a drink, anything you need. I'll be back in about 5 minutes. everyone, I'm back. I hope you had a great break. Looks like Sarah had a very productive break getting some vacuuming done. Nice. That's some quick vacuuming. Woo, good job. Taking a little extra sip of water. I had some of my delicious smoothie during my break, also some stretches. I made a chocolate cherry smoothie for today. It was extremely yummy. There's still more left for me for after the stream. Now I'm all fueled up, stretched out. Let's continue. So, right, I was working on this sweater dress. So I want to create that same thick outline. And then that will show that the sweater dress is separate from the legs and other garments below it. Creating separation between all these layers that are jam-packed in this teeny tiny little 1-inch square space. And then we'll do the same thing with the tops of the boots using this size of pen. Whee. And let's do the same with the legs, which we only see the outside line, I think. Oh, and this line here for the cloak we didn't get before. There, now we've got that on there. Okay, we just need to do the arms. And do I want to use this size? I'll use this size, the 03, for the outside line of the arms. And then the hands, because the hands are coming forward. So I want that thicker line to help show that there's space, that it's not straight like this, it's coming out like this. Then we'll move to a smaller size. Boom. Done. Oh wait, let's do these wrinkles in the cloak so that they're all matching. There. Now moving down. Should I move down 1 step or 2 steps? Let's go down 2 steps, because then we'll have used 03, then 2 steps up is this, which is also 2 steps down from what we were just using. So the 003, 03, and then this is in the middle of those. And so we'll have a nice even range of sizes here. I wish... So are your pups playing together right now? Our pups... Aoife wants to be friends with Chappy, and Chappy doesn't know how to be friends with another dog, so they haven't figured each other out yet. But it seems like over the years they're slowly getting a little closer, slowly figuring each other out. I forgot I wanted to do the hands with this thicker one too. There, now I've done so. Little nubs. Little chibi nubs. So probably the rest of the lines are now going to be with this. What is this? Size 01. What is it in millimeters? 0.25 millimeters. What? I saw Sketchy's message first. I did not hear about that. You know what? Even though I love Okami so much, and I've started it again and again on platform after platform, I've never actually been able to finish the game. They're going after each other's faces, so it's bitey face. Oh. Well, the fact that they played together at all, it might just be an age difference thing for Misty and Taika. But Aoife and Chappie are only estimated to be about a year different in age. They're not the same size, though, so maybe that gives Chappie a little bit of anxiety, and that's why it's hard for her to trust any other dog. Who knows? It could just be personality difference. Here's adding all the details. So small, I've got to pay really good attention to what I'm doing. Ooh. And we've got the part of the jacket where it's coming together. I'm not drawing the seam down the middle just because it will just be all muddy. It's too small of a space. So for the sake of the overall drawing, it looks like it's just a big one-piece overcoat thing, but that's just so that it'll work visually. Let me see. I think I need to bring this up. Yes. I need to bring this line up. E. Now for the piping. There. And this side. Ooh. And there's just a couple more details. These straps that go around onto the back. Okay. Ooh. This arm. Getting closer and closer to done. Let me look at something for the bracer on the arm. So I think we would see a little line here with the way I've drawn the hand. Okay, moving down. See here. Okay. Checking the reference image. Okay. So this needs to have separation here. Okay. Then there's piping along this one. So small. So small. That's the legs left. Few details left for the legs. I think I got everything there. But worst case scenario, if I didn't, we will see it when I erase, which I'm going to do now. And then we can refine these lines even further. I guess I'll do a little bit on the hair first because I'm going to completely erase these lines. So we'll go with the size. Now, what will we do? 8? Yeah, let's do 8 for these little lines here on the hair, which I have neglected until now. Just getting a nice tapered line coming in from that thick outer line, that bounding line. And we can work it even more later, but let's get just the start of it on here now before I erase everything. There, that's good. Okay. And I will erase from the bottom so that I can give that some time to dry. As usual, I will start with my lovely kneaded eraser. That lets me be a little less rough on the paper, and it's a lot easier to erase the entire paper, because as I was saying a lot during the last Chibi Friday, I have smeared graphite everywhere, all over this paper. So this eraser makes it a lot easier to just pick that up and clean it up. Sorry for the shakiness of the main camera. It's one of its weaknesses. It's so good, it's so mobile and adjustable, but it's also very floppy. And the tiniest little movement of the desk makes it shake everywhere. I feel like I don't usually smudge this much graphite when I'm making a chibi, so I'm erasing a lot more than I usually do just to make sure that I've cleaned up as much as I can. Alright, now I'll start erasing the drawing proper. Hopefully that ink looks like it. It hasn't smudged, so that ink had time to dry. You can see all of the graphite it's picking up. And the nice thing about the kneaded eraser is you just sort of knead it into the eraser, and then it's relatively clean to erase some more. Okay, I've got then the main bulk of the graphite, but that's just the start. There's still quite a bit, especially jammed into lines where I created a groove in the paper with my pencil. So I am going to first put this away. I love that this Faber-Castell one comes with a case so that it keeps your eraser from drying out really quickly and from getting full of dust and pet hair and who knows what else that makes the eraser wear out faster. So I'll use this size. I'm going to take a plastic eraser next to do some detail erasing. And I won't be able to get everything up. Sometimes it just stains the paper. But I'll do my best. And anything that's still glaringly obvious by the end after it's been covered with marker and colored pencil, I can just clean up in Photoshop. So all of these chibis are always finished up in Photoshop, no matter what. Whether it's just for a little bit of cleanup or even just to digitize it for a presentation online. All of my chibis are delivered digitally anyway, so it's got to happen. It's going in Photoshop no matter what. Okay, moment of truth. I'll take my favorite swipey brush, swipe this stuff into the trash, see if it looks good enough to move on and start coloring. No, wait, not coloring. Adding the final details with ink, and then we'll do coloring. I think I got it all. Sometimes these eraser bits like to stick. Oh, yep, there's one right here. They like to stick on the paper, so I gotta look carefully. Because if you try to draw and then you draw onto one of those little eraser bits and you didn't notice, it can create a little blop of ink where it was. But it's all good now. Alright, I think that's it. I think that's as good as it's getting. There were a few areas that seemed like I could get a little bit more graphite off, and I did. And there were some areas where I tried and it didn't work. So that's gonna have to be good enough to be getting on with. Well, I think look pretty good. And we're not even done with the inking yet. We got some more inking to do. Dude. I love that you said that because so many people bring up Bob Ross to me, and I feel like that's such a compliment, and it makes me feel really great that I make people think of Bob Ross for whatever reason it is. So, I love that. See how long it takes people to notice. People have been comparing me to Bob Ross from the very beginning, from when I first started art streaming back in 2018, I think. Like, it was a while ago now. And so I think about it a lot, and I think the difference is Bob Ross was creating a television series, and I learned once when I was looking him up that he would create the whole series in one go over like a day or two so that he could then just like chill out for the rest of the season and do whatever. But for me, I'm doing it live every time. And so I'm like chatting with y'all and everything. And so I end up having a little bit more exuberance. Also, that's just my personality. But it pleases me so much. I think it's such an honor. People, whether they think that I am like Bob Ross or just something about my stream makes them think Bob Ross. Makes me very happy. Just dress up. Yeah. I think I could do it. Well, it'd be really hard. I'd have to ignore chat, and that would be really hard. Like, oh, I want to talk to people in chat. But no, it's my Bob Ross cosplay episode. That's funny. All right. I actually want a bigger pen than this. Time to add little embellishments to the ink work. Ever since I learned this from one of my how to draw manga books, I've loved this idea that just because you've done the first round of inking, like it's even the idea that there is a first round of inking, the idea that what you can add more, like the first line you put on the paper doesn't have to be the end. I love doing this. I love adding little embellishments, tapering lines, thickness here and there, or hatching sometimes. I don't do it so much on these chibis because I just do so much work with the marker and colored pencil for the coloring part, but yep, I love this part. The second round of ink work. So for the bangs, I'm adding a lot more weight to the line. Again, with the idea that they are not plastered to the face, they're sitting above the face. And so if you add thickness to the line, then even with the line work alone, just black and white, you can suggest shadow and depth. Ooh, I've got to be careful. This really thick ink. I got some on my hand. I don't want to put it back down on the paper. I'm going to wipe my hand off real quick. It's putting down this thickness of ink is drying a lot slower than I'm used to. So I must be careful about that. There, turn the drawing upside down so there's less chance of me putting my hand on the ink while it's still wet. Let me look real quick. What's the overall effect? A little more thickness on this middle piece. Let's take a look again. actually looking in my OBS camera. I'm not looking at the drawing. I'm looking over my secondary monitor because that really helps to see it in a different way. See what the overall effect is. So when I look at it with my naked eye, it's almost impossible to see anything other than the details. I think that's pretty good. So let's move on to the ear tails. We don't need to make the line quite as thick there because we're not having, so these ones would probably be closer to the face. But I do want to create some separation there, so we'll add a little bit. So here I think I actually will add a little bit of hatching to help show that this bit of hair is in the background. So right now it looks on the same plane as the ear tail, which is on the front of the head, so it should be a lot more distance between, so we'll add a little bit of hatching to help do that. We'll let it fade as it comes around the side because we don't need that effect for the whole hair. Over here it's fine, it's not competing, but here it's helping to show that there's a difference there. Yes, I love hatching so much, and to be honest, I feel reinforced in that love so many times when I raid another artist, which I only raid artists here on Twitch, but they so often compliment me on my hatching, and I'm like, yay! So, yep, I love the hatching. It's such a useful visual tool. It's so satisfying. The effect does what I want it to. Plus, it's just fun to do. There's a little pet hair on my drawing here. Got it. Got that pet hair off of here. I want to work this line right here a little bit more. Gotta put this back over. So it's just a little bit wobbly. So let's make it stronger, more confident. Yeah, that's better. We can do the same thing here too. Not because it's wobbly, but because the line next to it is coming out in a way that doesn't make sense, because these bumps of hair should be overlapping one another, but the lines were crossing a little bit. Let's see. Add a little bit more taper here. We don't have to do it to all of these pieces of hair, but we'll do it right here. And I'll thicken these up a little bit. They're pretty thin for how thick I made the bottom edges. Let's bring that thickness in to the rest of the hair on the bangs. When you erase, you end up erasing some of the ink as well when you're working like this. So some of these things, like right here with this smile, I'm just reinforcing the ink that was already there because it got erased and becomes a little bit gray. Okay. Look at our reference images. So it looks like her eyebrows are just black. And it also looks like her eyelashes are just black. So that's nice because I can just fill those in, and the pupils of course should be black. So we'll use a bigger pen for this. Going to my biggest one for the pupils. Aoife's sighing. I won't use this size though, but I'm gonna reinforce the outline of the iris. Maybe we'll use the 8. I'll use the 8 for that. We'll see. See what that looks like. That's pretty good. Right, this eye. Excelente. Next, I'm going to go back down to the 5 and do the eyelashes. Do the outline first and then I'll fill it in. So I can get those nice sharp points. But then we'll use the bigger pen to fill in because it's faster. I want to make this one eyelash a little pointier, a little bit longer because it's getting lost. There's a lot going on with the hair here, so let's make it a little bit longer and sharper. There. Okay, turning it around to the other side. She's getting her mascara on. It's looking pretty good. So I'm going to look between the two eyes. I think that this eye now needs to have the eyelashes, the points, elongated to match the other side better. Yeah. Next, we'll do the eyebrows. Her face is done. Hooray! So now, I'm looking at the body. Where do I want to add more? It's definitely looking pretty flat, so I want to add a little bit of thickness, but these pens are too big. So we'll just go back down to the 303. First thing, the cloak, which is the most forward thing to the viewer. And it also, it feels like it should be the heaviest thing visually in her outfit. So I'm going to add a nice thick line to it. Relatively thick. Ah, the eyebrows are still wet. Ah, I got more ink on my hand again. Okay, I'm going to be very careful. Wiping this off on my pants. So nice when I'm wearing black pants. I can just wipe the ink on it. No one will ever know unless they watch this live stream or watch the recording. Okay. Adding the thicker line to the cloak. It not only helps give it weight, presence, separation, it helps bring it forward. In this case here, this part of the cloak should be farther in front than this part of the cloak. So there's so many good things happening by darkening and thickening these lines here. When not in public, or if there's a tablecloth and your legs are under it. No one will know. So just wear black pants. Make sure they're not shiny. No one will know. Creating a little taper here from that real thick outline so that it's not an abrupt change from thick to thin. It's a nice smooth transition. And here we've got an area where the cloak is actually flying back behind itself. So we'll add a little more ink here to help emphasize that idea. Hatching between her arms and the cloak. Oh yeah, like the upper arms. I could do that, and I'll even do rounded hatching. Then it will create shape as well as shading. Good idea. I'll do that now. So we'll do a rounded kind of hatching. And remember, these little parts are supposed to be black. Well, they're covered up in that one, but this one shows little black. It says it's a clasp. So I'm just going to fill it in. So it's so small, I just fill it in with ink instead of using marker. What's this one? This is 05. I think I actually want to switch to 05. I've been using 03 all this time, but then I keep having to go over the line over and over to get it thicker. I'm going to try just doing 05 because I want to do an outline on the both sides of her, the main trunk of her body, to help give that some separation from the arms and the cloak. So that's the next thing. Boom, just 2 lines and it did it. That's instantly what I wanted. Hooray! Inking is so fun. This is another instance of it's like I'm making my own puzzle and solving it all at the same time. Oh, there's a little hair on here. Okay, got that little, I think it was a little pet hair. A little pet hair off. So I put also another line, a thicker line. Well, maybe it would be better if I hold it. A thicker line at the bottom too, to help that stand out. So let's do a thicker line around the legs as well to give them some separation from the cloak behind. And I don't have a set game plan for this. I'm just having a look, seeing what it needs a little extra work, and then doing it. Giving a little extra attention to the flaps on the boots. And I will do the sweater dress, but I'm going to go back down to the 03 because instead of making the line thicker, because then it will just be competing with all of these thicker lines that I've made, I just want to darken it up since it's been lightened by being erased. Yes, let's fill in the straps on her jacket as well. Since they're so small, it's better just to use ink now instead of trying to fill it in with marker later, because the marker is so, the tips are so thick on it, even on the thin bullet tip. It's not nearly as small as any of these fine liners are. There's definitely such a small space that we wouldn't be able to get much, if any, indication of shading. So we'll just go ahead and make it all black. Yay! Tonight, maybe that would be good to do on this buckles, the buckle belts on the top of the boots as well. So it's very teeny tiny there. ink at the bottom seems a lot more worn out than at the top, so I'm going to go through and redo the outline here. That's better. I don't mind the outline being lighter here because that could just suggest, I mean, it's not really far enough away for atmospheric perspective to take place, but for the sake of the drawing, that's the sort of visual language we can take advantage of, so I'll let that be there. Next, I want to create a little bit more, like I did in other areas, taper between the thinner lines on the inside and that really thick line on the outside. So it's not such an abrupt change. Make it nice and smooth transition. So I'm going to darken these up a little bit more. These lines. There. One side done. Other side. Trying to keep my little camera looking at what I'm doing. There. All right, Kata, where else do you need some attention? Or are we ready to start a little bit of coloring? What time is it? Oh, we've got 5 minutes. I'll spend that time getting all my markers out. So let's just add a little bit more ink. I'm sure we can find somewhere to refine further on this part of the ear tail. What I call it. I don't know if there's any official or well used name. I've always called it ear tail. I made that name up for myself when I did my hair like this in high school. So I didn't know what to call it back then either. I'm like, you know what, I'll make my own name for it. Ear tail. Make her smile a little bit more even. One side's going up a little bit more than the other. There. Add some lines to the hair tie. Like some texture or just some hatching? Like texture or shading. Not hatching. Either way would be hatching. I could refine it a little bit more. It's kind of, it's got a one note. I'm trying to use a metaphor here and I can't think of it. One dimension. It's one dimension. Yeah. Make this a little bit more interesting. Some texture and help it stand out from the hair. Gotcha. Well, first I shall finish adding a little bit more ink to it. That'll help it stand out. And we could do I'll get my teeny tiny one back out. I'll get my 003. 003. I love this teeny tiny pen. I didn't know what I would use it for. What do I need such a tiny pen for? Oh, I know now. Oh, that looks nice. Looks like a little crown now. Ooh, we've got less than a minute left, so let's wrap it up. Yay! I do feel like that's pretty much it for ink. We can move forward next week, next Chibi Friday. Hopefully finishing her up. I'll hold her up for one last look. What we got done today, although if my camera would like to focus or anything. Thank you, camera. One last look at all the work we did today. All the inking is done, and it's so satisfying when you can finish a step at the end of the stream. Feels really good, instead of having to stop in the middle of a step in the process and then come back to it. Somehow mentally more difficult to do that. I was trying to think of a 007 joke. Good one. Like 007, but smaller spy jobs. Oh, I'm so glad you think it looks great. Since this is for you. Happy birthday. Not yet, though. Not done yet. Your birthday isn't complete yet. Even though it's been like 4 months or something. Okay. Hooray! That's it for today. Trying to think whether I want to raid or not. To be honest, I'm feeling kind of tired. So I think I'll just ride my own vibes. Let us just call it good. We won't raid today, because raiding always takes me so much energy. I love raiding, but I think because I spent all my energy on you guys, because you made it such a great time in the chat from the very beginning. So I'm tired now. I'm glad you love that. I'm actually trying to work on celebrating little accomplishments, because that's part of the perfectionism work that I've been doing. The anti-perfectionism work is because with perfectionism, you tend to always set yourself a goal that's higher than before, which it sounds fine on paper, but then it means that you're never good enough. And so it gets really depressing and really hard, and you're always really hard on yourself. And so I am working on celebrating the little things. Oh, thank you. It's very me in a good way. I'm so glad you think so. Thank you for your support. You guys are so supportive. Oh, and it's Valentine's Day. I love you guys. Happy Valentine's Day. Thanks for being with me on this Valentine's Day stream. I did not make it themed until now. Now it's a theme. Retroactive theming this Valentine's Day stream. Yay! Sarah and Sketchy New are my Valentines on Twitch this year. And Exy, but Exy probably went to bed a long time ago. Super late for Exy. Alright, y'all. Let's call it good. Call it good for this week. I will be back next week, same time as usual. You can check my schedule to see my stream times and days in your time zone. So I hope to see you then, but even if not, let me wish you a wonderful rest of your day and the most excellent weekend ever. Thank you, Sketchy You. Happy Valentine's Day, and thank you for watching.